Today we are going to learn about the forest and the wildlife of India. We all know that India has been a land of great forests. Nearly 67,000 hectares of Indian land has been covered with forest, which has been the houses for variety of species. The biodiversity has been a significant feature of the Indian forests. Indian forests holds various varieties of mammals, flora and fauna which are found in the world. According to the statistics, we have 81,000 of fauna, 47,000 of flora. In that again 47,000 of plants, we have 15,000 plants which are explicitly in the category of flowering species. So this variety of biodiversity is found only in India, where 10% of the wild flora and 20% of the mammals are in danger. In India, we have various forest reserves prior to the rule of the Britishers. After the Britishers have entered, they have categorized the forest into different categories like reserved forest, unreserved forest, protected forest. After the categorization happened, that resulted in the endangering of the forest. People are also closely associated with the forests. Some of the tribal communities feel that forest is their motherland. They get everything from the forest. There are various movements also happen against the removal of tribal communities' rights from the forest lands. So, in this unit, we shall discuss what is the forest importance in our country, how the species are getting endangered, threat for the biodiversity in our country, how are the categorization of the species happened, and then different kinds of forests, and what are the steps taken to preserve the special animals. So, being a land of great biodiversity, from the past to the present, India had various varieties of mammals, various varieties of plants, various varieties of insects, various varieties of plants, in that also medicinal plants, non-medicinal plants, flowering plants. All these have brought in the different varieties and made India the land of biodiversity. But today, we have the entire category of plants and animals falling in the different categories. Let's find out what are the different categories. Now, let us look at the alarming rates of the forest growth. As per the Indian norms of statistics, we have in India 78.29 million hectares, which is a very large according to our calculation. 78 million hectares is very large, but India's area is 32 million hectares. Out of that, 1/3, which means nearly 10%, means 10 million hectares Indian forest should be there. That is according to the National Forest Policy of India 1952. 33% of the land holdings of any country should be covered with forest. Then only the ecological balance will be maintained. But according to the statistics available for us, we have only 78.29, which is not appropriate. We need to have 33%, but in the Indian total area, we have only 23.81%. And coming according to the state forest policies, according to their calculations, in 1997, every year we are getting added of 10,098 square kilometers of land. See, when the state forest is taking the calculations of adding on the areas which are getting forestized, or we are getting afforestation, but actually they are not able to bifurcate between the plantation and the afforestation. Afforestation is a place where you have to grow a forest, not a particular special plant. You cannot grow a teak plant on a large area and say this is a forest, because it kills the biodiversity. So the actual fact is, the state forests are taking into consensus all the land which was brought into afforestation, but not in regards to only forest. So this number may not be actually true, but it indicates that the land area which brought into under cultivation is increasing. That's what we cannot justify that we have sufficient amount of forest lands. So it would be right to say that forests are vanishing day by day in our country. They are getting erased from the maps of India. That is a very alarming state. So once the forests are getting vanished or erased from the maps of India, the fundamental question comes is, what about the animals or the species that are survived in the forest when the forest was full-fledgedly present there? Once the forest is getting erased, what is actually happening to that species? So basing on the calculation and the statistics of International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, we have an international body to look after all these things. It's named as International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. It's in short form known as IUCN. The IUCN stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. They have categorized the entire flora or fauna into different categories. They are broadly categorized into 6 different types. First one is the normal species. The normal species state that the amount of the animal species available are equal to the normal levels. Those are normal species. The examples of the normal species are cattle, sal, pine. The second category is endangered. The endangered category stands for the animals which are in the danger of extinct. From the normal level, they have fallen down to a situation where there will be a danger that these animals will not be appeared for us. The examples of those animals are rhino and lion. The third category is vulnerable, which have declined to the levels. Earlier they were normal, they were under the category of extinct, there was a danger for them. Now the number has been rapidly gone down and today they are in a state of vulnerable, which means they are in a state of very soon to disappear. So that is blue sheep, Gangetic dolphins. And then the fourth category is the rare species. These rare species are found in small populations. They are not at all found in large numbers to the normal levels. They are found in very few, 5, 10, 15, 50, 100 like that. So these animals are wild Asiatic buffalo is an example of rare species. And moving on to endemic. Endemic means only in a particular place, only in a particular spot you find that animal. That animal are examples Nicobar pigeon and wild pigs. When we move on to the last category, that is extinct. Once upon a time they are found here, now they are not found. Let us take the same animal like wild pigeon, which was once upon a time found in the Nicobar Islands, but now it's not found. Those kind of animals are called extinct animals. Example, pink-head duck and Asiatic cheetah. So like this, the categorization of the animals has happened on the basis of the study of IUCN, the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. They have categorized the animals broadly into 6 major types basing on their availability, basing on their possible conditions of finding them. First one, normal, where they are found normally. Cattle, sal, pine coming under the examples of normal categories. Endangered, have a threat of danger. Rhino and lion are the examples. Vulnerable, possible to be declined or the lowest levels. Blue sheep and the Gangetic dolphins. Rare species, very small population is available. Wild Asiatic buffaloes. Endemic, only in a particular areas they are found. Nicobar pigeons, wild pigs. Extinct, once upon a time they used to be here, but now we don't have that kind of animals living in that particular region. So this categorization shows for us that in India also, as the erasal of the forest is happening, as the deforestation is on a large scale, that is resulting in the erasal of the species of the animals which are found in our country. What are the factors that made for the depletion of the forests in our country? Does it the blame to be put on the colonial rule of the Britishers? Or is it the mistakes which are made by the Indians? What are the actual reasons? Let us try to find out first of all, what do we get from the forest? In our Indian forest, we have the enormous wildlife, the wood, the fuel, the fodder, the manure, the medicines. We have many items which are coming from the forest. So as we all have discussed that many items are available in the Indian forest, the Indian people have the habit of going and collecting from the forest. So the wildlife is also used, their skin is used, their bones are used in various medicines, and also their teeth are sold in Asian markets. So that all have made the people to approach towards the forest and start to clear the forest, kill the animals, poaching, hunting, all these have triggered to do this one. And not only this, the fuel, what you get from the fodder, then wood is used for making the railway track compartments, sleeper coaches, ships, and also for the daily wood, the coal wood, whatever we need for them, for cooking and all. The manure, the natural manure what they get, the medicines from some of the medicinal plants, all these have made the forest to be the hub or a economy where you can go and approach that one and you get it in large number. So once everybody knows that there is some possibility of getting some income from the forest, automatically people would run for that income. That is one of the basic reason why we have depletion of the forest in our country. Second basic reason is because of the colonial rule. For making the railway compartments, we need large amount of wood. For that wood, the forests have been cleared daily basis to get the large amount of wood to build the railway sleepers, coaches. Mining has been done without any discrimination. Where the mining should not be done, there the mining has been started and done explicitly, extensively, without looking into the commercial lands or the crop lands. Commercial agriculture, plantation concept has been brought into the Indian agriculture. Prior to this, we don't have any plantation concepts. The Britishers, with their mottos to fulfill their requirements, they have bifurcated and brought the commercial agriculture, which has killed the biodiversity nature of our Indian land. And then from 1951 to 1980, 26,200 square kilometers of land has been brought extra into agricultural lands. But in opposite to this, we have the tribals using their regular practice of agriculture, the slash and the burn agriculture, where they have cleared more than this. Indian government have made several efforts and brought more than 26,000 hectares of land under cultivation, whereas 26,200 square kilometers of land. On the contrary to this, the tribals have deforested the forest more than this because of their regular habit of practicing agriculture through slash and burn agriculture or the jumping agriculture or shifting agriculture. And moving on to understand some of the other reasons why we got the deforestation of the forest is so high on a very large scale. The colonial plantations, one of the major reasons. Then the large scale projects, for example the Narmada Sagar project. In order to build the Narmada Sagar project, the project has waived or cleared off nearly 5,000 square kilometers of the forest land, which is really a very astonishing fact. Today, nowadays, because of the ideology of modernization, urbanization, the large forest lands are being cleared and given to the MNC companies to establish their factories or to build a large dams, which are actually at the cost of the forest lands. The tribal community peoples are struggling for their rights even today. Even when the Narmada Sagar project was built, many Andol movements were being raised. The tribals have written a letter to the Digvijay Singh, the then CM of Madhya Pradesh, asking and questioning what would they do if their lands were taken away for building a project, and why should they only be the people of sacrificers for the development of the nation. And then we also have a special plant called Himalayan yew, which is actually from the bark. We collect the medicine of the very rare medicine which is found to treat cancer, the anti-cancer drug, which is found from the Himalayan yew. This is located in the states of Himachal Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. But because of the drastic changes of the climatic conditions and deforestation, thousands of the yew trees are becoming dry, and today it is in the endangered list. The anti-cancer drug is not grown in India no more now. It is finding very difficult to find this plant in Himachal or in the Arunachal Pradesh region. Some of the other reasons why we have heavy deforestation is human habitation. habitat. Human people go to a particular place, clear that land and start doing living. Once the population goes on increasing, people would go on going into the forest lands. They clear the forest lands and go on occupying them. That is one of the major reasons why we have large scale deforestation. Then hunting of the animals, killing of the animals, passion for hunting. In some of the families, we have a culture or a custom that how many lions did you kill, how many tigers did you kill, they maintain a brand list of that. Earlier, the kings used to have a habit of killing 400 lions, 400 tigers. These all have endangered the tigers and the lions in the Indian land. Poaching, catching the animals and selling them abroad, killing the animals, taking the teeth, bones, skin and selling it in the abroad market, Asia market. These all are some of the activities which are endangering. Overpopulation in India, the land of second most populated country in the world, which automatically reveals for us that we have huge population. When we have huge population, we automatically consume more amounts of any products. It may be food, it may be land, it may be nature products. So that overpopulation affects. Environmental pollution. When you have overpopulation, automatically pollution also will be more. We are creating more amount of environmental pollution, and that too we are taking away the forest lands and we are clearing the forest lands. So like this, the major reasons for having negative factors starting from the wildlife. What are the positive points that we get from the forest? Because of the colonialization, because of the human habits, because of the attitudes of the people, because of the practices of the tribal people, because of the modernization of the economy, so-called urban development, so-called multipurpose projects. All these reasons are some of the factors which have affected the deforestation on a very large scale in India. Let us now learn the other factors which have affected for India's deforestation. If you look at the overpopulation status of India, but many of the developed countries are consuming more amount when compared to common poor people or below poverty line people. For example, an average American consumes 40 times larger than what a Somalian average person consumes, which means 40 people of Somalia are consuming equal to one person who is consuming US, which means the environmental pollution is being more by the rich and the developed countries. It is not only with the case of United States. If you take in India also, 5% of the rich Indian people are utilizing the natural resources of India, which is equal to the usage of 25% of people who are poor. These are the astonishing facts which are revealed when this careful study was made. Deforestation will automatically result in the loss of cultural biodiversity. So, Indians have to step up immediately and to preserve the cultural biodiversity seriously. And that too, the most people or the section of people who get more affected with the deforestation is women. Generally, it is the responsibility of the women to cook and serve to the family. So, the families which are associated with the forests, the women have to walk into the forest, get the dried parts of the wood, then bring it and cook. If the forests are deforesting, she has to walk for miles and miles to get them. And there are situations when women used to walk for nearly 10 kilometers and get the coal wood and then do the cooking. This definitely affects the health of the woman, which will result because it is a state of poverty. So, when forests are present, if forests are maintained properly, the quality and the standard of the life of the people, those who are associated with the forests, are also maintained very well. When the forests are deforested, when the deforestation on a larger scale, it is not only affecting the forest environment, but also it is affecting the lives of the people. It is pushing them to fall into the state of poverty. Poverty would be the outcome on the impact of the people when deforestation happens. There is loss in biodiversity. because of deforestation. Mammals and species are getting endangered. They are vulnerable to threat because of biodiversity, because of this deforestation. So all these factors have to be taken very seriously. That's why the government of India has come up with the policy of conservation of forest and wildlife in India. The forest life and the wildlife has to be safeguarded seriously. If not, they will definitely be in danger. Certain laws were brought in 1960s, with also adding in 1972, where the wildlife protection also was added. The main intention was here to save the remaining population, preserve the remaining biodiversity, preserve the extinct species which are rare to found in the other corners of the world. Let us preserve whatever diversity that is present for us, available for us at this moment. Please try to preserve the endangered species of flora and fauna. These were the main targets of this mission of 1972 Wildlife Protection Act. So, some of the animals which are in a extinct or vulnerable state are tiger, elephants, great Indian bustards are some of the animals. So let us discuss about one of the project which was initiated by Indian government, that is Project Tiger. Project Tiger was started in 1973 to safeguard tigers, because the Project Tiger 1973 was initiated because by the time the number of the tigers available on the Indian land are becoming from thousands, they have become into hundreds. So Project Tiger was initially successful. In 1985 they have registered 4002 tigers. In 1989 it went up to 4334, but astonishingly in 1993 the number has come down to 3600. And to stop this kind of endangers and threats, they have started to set up tiger reserves. These tiger reserves are established in 6 states, and they have nearly 32,137.14 square kilometers of land established at tiger reserves in various states like Sundarbans in West Bengal, Periyar region of Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Assam and Uttarakhand states, where the tiger reserve projects are established in order to preserve the tiger, because tiger is our national animal. Tiger is in danger, tiger is in state of vulnerable state, and the wildlife has to be protected. Now the idea has grown larger. Instead of preserving only a few set of animals, let us preserve the larger biodiversity available for us on a larger scale. So they decided by the acts which were brought into force in 1980, 1986 to add on some more animals under the protection cell, to preserve the elephants, to preserve the lions, to preserve the tigers. So all these were been increasing the number, and in 1991 it's not only the animals, the plants have to be saved. The plants are also becoming extinct, the plants are also becoming vulnerable. We need to save the plants also on large number. So 6 varieties of plant species are also added in the 1991 Act, which was an addition to the wildlife. So like this, the government of India has initiated the conservation of forest and wildlife in India through the different acts from 1960 to 1972 Act, 1973 Tiger, Project Tiger, and in Wildlife Acts of 1980, 1986, and adding plants also to the wildlife protection and plant protection through the Act of 1991. So in this way, government has started her steps on a very large scale to safeguard the forest and also to safeguard the vulnerable species which are available in the Indian land, and to save and preserve the animal and plant biodiversity on the Indian land. Now, moving on to understand how the classification of the forest has been done. The government, after it has decided to protect the biodiversity, the forest lands, the mammals, the animals and everything, they have decided that classification of the forest is very, very important, because the entire large forest sector is mainly under the control of Government of India. So the government should be keen to determine which forests have to be given more priority, which lands can be given selected priority, and which can be associated with the local community people. So in order to get clarity on this point, the government, with the consultation of the forest department, decided and bifurcated the forest into three different segments. The first one, the reserved forest. The reserved forests are the forests which have the most valuable plants, most valuable forest wealth, and most valuable animal wealth. Second category is the protected forest. The protected forest, out of the entire forest, only some part of the forest land is having most valuable reserves in that. So that particular part means 1/3 of the forests are protected by the government, and that is run or controlled by the forest department. Third category is unclassified or unclassed forest. In that forest, it is a combination of forest and wastelands, and it also is a ownership combination of government as well as the private individuals. So this we have to be in collaboration with the local people. That's how the government decided to classify the forest into three categories. Reserved forest, which contains the most valuable products. Protected forest, some part of the forest is protected where the valuable products are present under the control of the forest department. That is generally 1/3 of the forest is declared as protected forest. Unclassified or unclassed forest, that is, it is a combination of forest land and wasteland, which is actually the collective property of government and the private individuals. So after the classification is done, the states in which these kind of forests are in existence are the states where we find the reserve forest as well as a protected forest largely are known as permanent forest estates. Government has declared this land as permanent forest estates. These are found in the states of Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, and Maharashtra. These are the states which have reserved forest and protected forest present in them. Some of the states of central India like Bihar, West Bengal, Orissa, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh some parts, Uttar Pradesh some region also have some part of the protected areas. And moving on to the unclassed lands or forest, we have most of the northeastern states of Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram, Manipur, all these states, and some parts of Gujarat have the unclassed forest, which are actually maintained by the local communities. Now, the government also decided to go for the community and conservation. Simply, the government policies do not ensure to get safety for the forest. It has to involve the communities, and wherever the communities are brought into the involvement, there the result has been very successful. Let us see the examples here. The local communities plus government have decided to safeguard the forests. Example, the Sarika Tiger Reserve, which is in Rajasthan, where the forest people, the community people, the villagers have fought against the mining company to stop the mining, which will affect the forest lands. One more example we have, that is the Alwar districts of Rajasthan, where they declared 1200 hectares of land as protection for the wildlife and banned hunting, and they do not allow any of the family members of the farmers or the villagers or the district people who are staying there, and they also make ensure that none of the other outsiders come inside and do any kind of hunting of the animals. So like this, the collective efforts of the government and the local communities have always proven very, very successful. Now let's find out what is Chipko movement. Now, as we discussed about the Chipko movement, Chipko movement is a movement which have been a very successful movement in the Himalayan region, where the local tribal people have resisted the mottos of the larger business people. They have stopped the cutting down of the forest on a very large scale. This not only proved to be very successful, but also triggered into the minds of the people that the ecological farming is important, environmental friendly farming is important. We cannot use the chemicals which are doing harm to the nature. Doing harm to the environment, doing harm to the nature is nothing but doing harm to ourselves. This awakening has been brought up with the Chipko movement which happened there, and afterwards the government of India decided to go ahead with the JFMs. JFM stands for Joint Forest Management. Actually, this was been informal up to 1988 when it was started first in Odisha, where it has been proved very successful. The timber and the non-timber products which are actually under the control of the government of Orissa or the Odisha were not so successful, but once they brought the JFM momentum into that collaboration and brought the local community people also in connection with the forest management, then they were very successful in safeguarding this one. So the Chipko movement is the base for getting the localites getting involved into the forest management. And it is not only this. In this entire lesson, we have discussed about the entire journey of how the environmental degradation happened, how the environmental destructuration happened, how the environmental destruction happened in literal terms, and later we also moved on our point of view how the construction or reconstruction of India has happened in terms of economy, in terms of forest, especially in terms of environmental friendly approaches. Now, earlier it was under the control of the government that they should take the policies which are beneficial to few of the rich people or few of the business tycoons. But today, the government has initiated the policies which are people friendly, which are beneficial to people, and first of all, they would go ahead with environmental friendly policies and then only the economic profits. First of all, the project, whatever they bring, that should be environmental friendly. This was a great change which happened in the thought process of the government of India and in the planning of the government of India. And as Buddha mentioned that plants are the peculiar organisms which have unending kindness, unlimited kindness, which have benevolent. They never demand for their substance. They offer all their products towards the benefit of the human mankind. They always work hard to do the benefit for the mankind, and they even provide shade to a man who is an axeman, who is ready to destroy it, which means that plants are very friendly and they offer many benefits to mankind. But we the mankind people always take the benefits, receive the benefits and destroy them permanently. This attitude has to be changed. Gautam Buddha is really a great personality because he has visualized what the people are going to do in 2000 years before. In 487 BC itself, he has described about the greatness of the plants and what is the loss that is going to be for the human mankind if we destroy the plants, that we can understand by the words of Gautam Buddha. That's all we have in this lesson.
If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.